Hey, what's up? Today we're doing like the shield pickup and then applying the shield. So I'm gonna like channel it. So it's like a progress bar in the center. It's like filling up, and then you probably saw in the intro. I don't know why I'm explaining it. So yeah, we're gonna do that per request of someone. They just told me to do it, so here I am. Yeah, by the way, I do take requests if I think the idea is simple enough that I can do it within a video and different enough from the rest of my content that it makes sense for me to do it. So first thing, I have this already because I want to show the pickups in the top. Put them in the bottom. So I'm going to put the how many pickups you have in the bottom right. That's probably what I'm going to do. We'll see. You already know because you saw in the intro. But I'll show you how to get this right now. And here we are. I'm just going to show you how to get the shield PNG thing. So I looked up shield PNG. And of course I can see the one that I picked here. But I know one of you guys asked earlier about the checkered background. You picked out a shield and there's a checkered background. You can figure out how to get rid of it. Honestly, don't know really how to get rid of it either when you're looking it up on images, because it's using a Photoshop software that it fills in the blank area with these checkered boxes, and I don't know how to fix that. So, but if you go under the tools and you click the color and you click transparent, it will select all the ones that have transparent backgrounds so that it won't come in with the checkered boxes typically. I mean, so you see the checkered back here, but like when you actually input it into the thing, like I did with this one, even though you see a checkered background here, when you put it in, you won't see that checkered background. So yeah, bye. All right, and you're back. It looks extra goofy over here because I'm saying it and then immediately just continuing with my conversation, but yeah. So the first thing I want to do, let me move my thing over a bit, is I want to, is this all the way up? That wasn't all the way up. Oh man. That should be fine, whatever. The volume change shouldn't be that much. I want to create a widget blueprint UI for the health and the shield. So I right click the blueprint thing. I should have talked while doing that, but whatever. And then under all classes, you want to get user widget. And user widget is the place where you go for all the interface stuff. And then it's saved in an exact moment, so it took me out of that. But if you want to rename something, you just have it highlighted and then press F2. And then you can just rename it. In my case, it's going to be widget blueprint UI. And I'm going to double click on this. And let me get a canvas. This is going to be the entire screen here. So this whole box is the entire screen. So if I want this in the top left corner, I'm just going to get a progress bar. And then I'm gonna drag it to a certain length. I'm not gonna be very particular about the distance, but you can position it via X and Y and everything over here. So make it exactly equal in terms of distance away from the wall here. I'm going to center this right here first. Control D, which duplicates everything. And that's close enough for me. But if you want to be very particular about it, you can adjust it here. You probably want to adjust the X, and I don't know, maybe you want to be more particular about the Y axis. So now I want to grab an image. I'm going to put it down here. And this is going to be where my shield is going to go. So if I make this 100, it's going to be like a perfect square here. Here, let me dock this up in here. All right, perfect. Yeah, be like right there. This is where the shield's gonna go. And then I am going to grab some numbers So let me get text. And the text block's gonna go right here. I'm just gonna keep in some placeholder numbers just to see how big it's gonna be. Let's go to font and then increase the size a little bit. It's gonna be right there. And I already have the shield thing. I should have already shown you. And you just drag it. Let me go to the spot actually. Let's see. Not in there. There we are. Under color opacity is strike. Well, I actually use it. It's under strike brush, and it says image. I'm just kidding. I did that under the wrong thing. What did that even do? Not off to a good start. All right, good to know. Over here. Okay, so where it says brush here. Not strike brush. All right, that makes more sense. All right, let me center these over here. Compile and save. And now, all that should be fine. So let me get started by going to third person character. And what the first thing we want to do is create all the variables for the different things we're going to be adding. In this case, I should have mentioned this at the very beginning, but in this case, I'm going to only be doing shield, but you can do the exact same thing to get health pickups and apply them to your health if you do it the exact way that you're going to do for the shield. So if I go health, and I give it a float, and I give max health also a float, and then I'll go shield, and then I'll go max shield. And now we have 4 floats that we're going to use, but I am not going to use them here. Oh wait, I need to set these. So this one I'm going to make 100, and then I'm just going to make them all 100. The shield, or the health and the max health should be the same because you want them to start off with that amount. Typically, maybe you don't. Maybe you want to start off half health. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Sky's the limit. Compile and save. And then we want to go back into our widget blueprint so we can start messing around with stuff. In this case, let's start off with the health bar because we're not actually going to do much with this besides create the initial setup for it. So let me just create this. And all it's going to be doing, I need to call, let me go back to the designer, no, sorry, graph, and let me go to the event graph, and we'll do pre-construct cast to third person character, then get player character. Right now, all I'm doing is I'm creating a variable that's accessible. Sorry, I'm creating a variable that's accessible to this widget blueprint UI from the third person character. I think I said that backwards, but whatever. You'll see what I'm saying. So I created this variable just a second ago. I'm getting this variable, and now I am getting both values of health. So I'm getting health, and I'm getting max health. Get max health. And all I'm doing, because the bar is based off of 1. So 1 is 100%. So if I take the division of these two, if it's 100, it's going to be 1. And if you lose health, it makes sense. Like you have 50% of your bar. If your health is 50 and this is 100, that's 50%. And, you know, yeah, math stuff. So yeah, you want to divide your health by your max health. Yeah. Anyway, continue. Let's go back to the designer, and now we can hover over the shield, and now we can bind this. So we're, did I not mention this earlier? Under progress, where it says percent, this is the percent of the bar, and you can actually like fill it up, and you can actually see what it looks like. And like I was talking about before, 0.5 is around is half, right? And then you fill it up. 1 is the max. Oh, I didn't color code this one. I want this one to be red, because health is always red. That is a weird. Okay, it really doesn't matter. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Looks weird. Weird color red. Whatever. Yeah, I'm going to set this one by dropping down this menu here and creating a binding. This percent right here is the one we just created for the health. It kind of helps if you actually name these things. I didn't do that, but yeah, let me show you. You can press F2 and then you can rename this like health and shield, so you don't get I didn't press F2. You name it shield so you don't get confused between the different things when you're actually going through. All right, let me create the binding now. And let me drag this off and get this. Sorry, I'm making this a lot longer than it needs to be by going off on rants, but I feel like some people actually want to hear those rants or want to know exactly what's going on, which makes sense, right? If you're trying to learn, then you want to know exactly what's going on. So I'm gonna appease those people because these are beginner tutorial type things. Get max shield the same way that we did with the health. And let me divide the same way and hook this up and compile and save that. So we're good with that. So now we've settled the things up. So you'd expect, yeah, now we can run the game and you'll see all this stuff. Not exactly quite yet. What we need to do is we need to create a widget. And that widget is going to be the WB UI. So now the widget's being created, but you're still not gonna be able to see it because it's not added to the viewport yet. So you're gonna add it to the viewport. And now you should be able to see it. So yeah, let me do, and you see the bars up in the top corner and the shields in the bottom right. Can't do anything with them yet. So let's keep going because I didn't set anything to do anything with it. So the first thing we want to do is get a event any damage, and we're not going to do anything with health right now. I'm just going to show you shield, but if you want to do health, I have so many videos on that. Just look at one of my other videos. But this is just for that guy who's just trying to get a way of doing the shields. I want to do the whole thing, but also it's kind of redundant. So let me subtract from this, and then this, attach that, and then damage. So let me explain everything. In the event of any damage, this is a function on its own that's in the system. It will set the shield to what you currently have the shield as minus the damage that's being caused by that event. And then what do you do with that? Oh, well, let me do this. Keyboard key. And all this does is gives you a keyboard key that you can use. I don't know what key this is, but you can click on this keyboard here and then you can press in any key that you want and it automatically applies it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to apply damage. Also, a thing that's within this that ties directly with this. And the damaged actor is going to be reference to self, because I have nothing really else to damage besides myself. And then for this, I am going to make the base damage 10. Cool. So that's kind of all I want to do with that. So now I can damage myself. So now we actually want to create the pickups themselves. The things that are going to heal us or heal our shield, not us. All right. Blueprint class, let's go to actor. And we're going to call this BP underscore shield pickup. Shield pickup. And I'm going to go in here and we're going to have this empty screen here. And what this is going to be made up of is a static mesh. And this is what I'm just going to call it shield. Maybe I should have called it. Yeah, that's fine. And then we're going to, well, let me do this part first. Nah, I'm gonna show it. And then we're going to get a sphere collision. And that's going to be the collision sphere around the shield that we have. So let's get the shield first. So what is this shield going to look like? I don't know. I'm just going to make it a sphere. That should be huge, I think. Let me shrink it down. And then I'm just going to actually, let me just delete this and then add a collision sphere on that. So I can actually see it. All right, let me expand this to a good amount of range that we could be away from it in order to pick it up. And let me go back into my shield static mesh here. And under the material elements, let me just look for this thing. I might as well show you how to like edit the colors on things, I guess. So you can actually like double click on these and then you can modify these things. So surface properties. If I were to increase the metallic texture of it, reduce the amount of roughness, it looks a little bit cooler. I'm just going to save this. Typically you want to duplicate these assets because if something else is using this color in the world, then it's also going to change that color. I don't know if we have anything else in the world that has that color in there, but I guess we're going to find out. All right, so compile and then save that. Now let's, yeah, that's fine. Now let's go into the actual event graph here. So on neither of these things, none of these things, I'm going to go into the sphere collision here. And then on component begin overlap, we want to enable input for the character to do something. So the other actor is going to be cast to third person character. So if our third person character interacts with this object, let me just promote this to a variable. Let me promote this to a variable because I'm going to need this variable later. Let me enable input. And what this is allowing me to do is enabling input for my player controller. Do not hook it up to target self because it's going to enable the input for yourself, which you already have enabled. But when you go to disable it, it's going to disable like all your controls. So get player controller. It's going to disable your entire character. So make sure you hook up into player controller. And then that's component begin overlap. So we need component end overlap. And it's essentially going to be the same thing. Cast to third person character. Although I do not need to promote it to a variable again because I already have the variable. And so I'm just going to go disable input. And I'm just going to hook this controller up to there. You don't need to do this. You can get another player controller and put it down here. I'm just going to use 1 for 2 just because it looks cooler, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, this should allow you to pick it up when you, well, it allows you to enable input for that thing. But how do I want to do this? Let me do another keyboard key here. Is that how I want to do it? Sorry, I'm just hitting the thought process right now. Let me do it into third person character first. Let me just do this in order how I kind of like think about it. So I want to damage first. So if I get a keyboard key, and I'm gonna make this X for damage because I want to use. I already have damage. Sorry. Actually, yeah, I want to get rid of this. I want to, on pressing X, I want to apply damage. Okay. Yeah, I do want to do that. And then, yeah, let me go back to my shield pickup. So when I press keyboard key, let's say E, the one I just took from the other one, I now want to, I want to destroy the actor so that it's no longer, there. So I'm going to destroy the actor first. And then I want to get the shield itself. But I don't want to do it on this graph because once you destroy the actor, it's no longer, the information is no longer accessible to that graph. So let me put it in third person character. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a custom event here. Event get shields. Sorry, this is what happens when you do things on the fly like this. Variables, I'm going to add a integer, and that integer is going to be shields. So let me just put shields. This is going to be the integer. And what this is going to be is this is going to be the number that's in the bottom right hand corner of your screen that basically indicates how many shields you are currently holding. So let me just get shields, and all I want to do is like, I guess I could do an increment. I'm just going to put +1. Add 1. Just so there's no confusion at all. You could also increment, essentially the same thing. Attach this here and put this here. So whenever this is called, whenever they call get shields, it's going to put this number up by 1. Let me go to shield pickup. And now we have this variable here. Oops. Let me not miss, get shield, and then let me pull off of this and get, what do I call it? Get shields, yeah. And so it's gonna call this, and it's going to increase the number of shields that you have by 1. All right, so now that we've done that, we actually need to go back to our Widget Blueprint UI, because right now it's not going to show up on our screen because we haven't set the numbers to change at all. So what we want to do is go into the designer, click on the numbers that we currently have, the 00s, and we want to bind the text. So create a binding for this text. And we already got the third person character from our earlier stuff. We created a variable for that. And we're just going to drag off of this and get shields. The number version, not the function. I click set shields. I did not read that correctly. All right, get shields. And if you just drag it onto here, I know these are different, and typically you want to match the same color, but it will auto convert it for you. So it's converting your integer to a text. And that's exactly what we want. So, actually, I never even checked to see how these things look like in the world. It's cool, they look like little marbles. All right, I kind of want a couple of them. Alt. If you alt and drag, it will duplicate them. Yeah, they're like little marbles on the ground. So if I press E on it, it picks one up, and you see a 1 in the corner there, and I could do those numbers a lot closer to the actual thing. 2. All right, so that's cool. That is working. So I have them now. All right, so wait. Did I? Never mind. I didn't set it to heal yet. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So we did that. I need to create kind of like a the bar for this. All right, so let me create another widget blueprint. Typically you want to put these things in folders, but yeah. Put them in folders. That makes sense. Sorry. What am I doing? User widget. I want another user widget that's going to go on top of everything. And let me click F2, and it's going to be widget blueprint underscore shielding progress. Let me go in here, and let me get another canvas. Drag on here, and let me get a progress bar. And I'm not going to bother setting the location right now because we can just do this. So we can anchor it. I didn't mention what anchors do. Essentially, anchors like decide where it's going to be on the screen. So if you change the size of the screen and stuff like that, it will keep it centered within that area compared to where it is on the canvas. Did I say that right? It'll center to that area, so when you modify it, it won't like spread the thing in some other direction when you have different size screens. Sorry, position XY, let's zero this out and then put 0.5 for the alignment. So it doesn't quite center it in the right place if you don't align it to 0.5. It'll put it in that top left corner pretty much every single time. So you just put 0.5 on each side and then you're good. Let me get text. So to make this look a little bit cooler. So text, let me get a text block here. And this is going to be, I need to add in here, shielding. And then like dot, dot, dot. Add an ellipse at the end of that, okay. Let's see. Font, there. Oh, okay, it doesn't need it that much bigger, like that. Shielding. Actually, let me just center this and then move it up, and then I can do zero it out on that and then 0.5 it. Cool. Cool, that looks good, I think. I want to change this to a different color. Let's just do green, sounds good. Sure. And yeah, I think I'm good with that right now. But now I need to create the actual logic for the loading for it. So let's go into the graph, and I'm actually going to do this all in here. So let's do this. Cast to third person character. So when this thing gets constructed, it's going to cast to this character. Get player character. I'm going to promote this to a variable. Do I need this to be a variable? Wait a second. Let me try to do without it. Let me event tick this. So I am going to create some new variables here. The first one is going to be load, and this is going to be a float. And I'm going to add another one here, and it's just going to be max load. It's going to be kind of the same thing. We just kind of setting up the progress bar a little bit differently here. So I'm going to drag load off of this. So get load, and I'm going to add a load for every tick of this. And then I'm going to set this load. So every tick, it's going to add a load. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then we can set the max load to something. So I don't know how long we want this exactly to go. Let me go into this thing. I'm spiraling a bit. All right, let's go into here. Bind, create binding. Go into here, create the load, or get the load and get the max load, and then divide these into each other. Kind of how we did with everything else. Perfect. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Let me compile here real quick. Load, I'm going to make 1, and then max load, I'm going to make 3. Compile and save it. I think that'll look good. Let's see, third person character. Let's actually apply these shields now. So let's start by getting a keyboard key. And then let's go to I'm gonna use R for this. So when I press R, I'm going to check a condition here. So this is gonna be the condition. And what we wanna make sure is that for one, that the shield isn't already at max, because we don't want to apply that, but let's make sure we have a shield first. Okay, so let's make sure we have a shield. If this is greater than 0, then we can do that, but we also want another condition. So a good way of doing this is we can do an AND Boolean. So it makes sure that both of these conditions are true before it executes the condition to be true. If both of these things are true, then it will execute true. So, and then the second thing we're going to need to do is get the shield, max shield, get max shield, and get the shield, and then make sure that the shield does not equal the max shield. And if I hook this up in here, we can set the condition for that. So if that is true, we're going to create the widget blueprint. So create widget, and then we're going to do this drop down menu here, and then we're going to do shielding progress. So if this is true, we're going to set the shielding progress. We're going to add it to the viewport, because you always need to add to viewport. We're going to delay this for the amount of time that we set. In our case, it is 3 seconds. On completed, we want to set the shield. Can I do it this way? Yeah, set shield to the increased value that we're setting for this. So we're going to grab shield, and we're going to, I'm just going to say 50 for this. So we're going to add 50 to this. But we also need to clamp this so it doesn't go over the max amounts of shield that we have. So I'm going to clamp a float, because if you don't do this, you could have like, so I get my hurt like to 90, and if this is adding 50, it's going to be 140. And you're not going to see it on the actual progress bar, but it's 140, and if you damage yourself, you pulse multiple times, you're not going to see your shield go down until you get past that threshold again. So we don't want to go past maximum when it comes to the shield. So our max is going to be our max shield. And the min is going to be 0, because 0 would be no shield. Return this value to shield. And then we want to set the number of shields we have as a -1, because we are using one of our integer shields. So let me get shield. And I want to subtract this by 1. Attach that here. And then I want to, finally, I just want to remove it from the parent. Sorry, I need to actually drag off the thing that needs to be removed from parent. Let me drag off here. Remove from parent. And that will, for one thing, make it so the progress bar is no longer there, and also like destroy the progress bar. So that, I believe, should work. I guess we're gonna test it to find out. All right, let's see. I'm gonna hit play. I'm gonna press E on here. I can pick up the shields. Let me damage myself a bit. Let me press R. I can't press R again. Let's, oh, it's starting. Here, let me go back into here. Let me try this, start 0. Sorry. I don't know why I set that to 1. That should be fine. You want to start it at. So here, let's just make sure I'm not over shielding. And if I damage once, yeah, you can see it, I'm not over shielding. E and then pressing R. And I need to stop making these videos at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going absolutely crazy. Oh, and this goes back to the thing where I was talking about changing the materials. As you can see, the blue I used for those spheres were the same blue that was being used in these square things. So yeah, just create a duplicate material so you don't change anything else using that material. I saved over it, but yeah. I hope this was helpful to you, person who asked this question, and yeah, have a good one.